Coach Nix, how are you?
Great.
Aldo Amato, DNJ. Tell me how it's been. Now you are the man on defense. You are. What is your goal heading into this season that you're at the helm of the defense, and what are some of the things that the players have to work on, especially up front?
Well, in reality, I've been in charge of it the past couple of years that I've been here, and we do it as a collective group where we all have input. The thing that I get credit for, whether it's good or bad, is how we perform on Saturdays and the calls that's made. The thing that we must improve, and we've heard it several times, is we got to improve fundamentally. And that's something that can be done, and it's been emphasized, and we've made strides in that area. We go back and evaluate ourselves in the off season, and the thing that stood out the most was, the lack of fundamentals at certain positions and throughout our defense, the inconsistencies. So that's the thing that we really put a lot of emphasis on throughout this camp, and I think we've improved throughout the spring.
Coach Teresa Walker with the Associated Press. How much does it help having a guy like Kevin Byard kind of there in the back to help clean up some stuff? And he seems very focused not on the numbers that he's certainly compiled in his career so far, but on trying to help make sure you're winning.
Having a guy like Kevin makes the job very fun and interesting. He's a leader. He leads by example, but he's also a vocal guy. The better players you have, the better you feel about your chances of winning. And he's one of our better players, if not our best player. And, his work ethic, the things that he provides, helps us in on and off the field, and we expect great things out of him this season.
Aldo Amato, DNJ. Tell me, with the addition of Cody Burns as the wide receivers coach, what new ideas, has he brought any new ideas to your offense, and how has he incorporated any of those ideas thus far?
Oh, yeah, he definitely has. Anytime you hire a new coach or a new coach comes in or something like that, he's been doing something, one way, and you like to find out some of the things that he knows. And he's definitely brought some things. He's brought some positive energy to a group of receivers. It's probably is the best thing that he's brought. But as far as schematically goes, like Coach Nix just said, we sit in there and we game plan together. And he's got some great ideas, some stuff in the run game, some stuff in the pass game, and we'll definitely incorporate some of those things in the stuff that we do. But we're just glad to have him.
Coach Faulkner, Connor Grott with Go Blue Raiders. You look at the depth chart really at the running back position, you see 5 or 6 guys that are very talented. How do you plan on getting them their touches? Are we going to see a run-oriented offense this year more than previously?
Well, I think the biggest thing is with all those guys, I agree. I think there's 7 guys on scholarship, and I feel like all 7 of them are pretty good. Some of them are bigger backs, more physical backs. Some of them are smaller, quicker. So each one of them has a skill set that we want to try to take advantage of. I think you'll see probably more so than anything some 2-back sets to make sure that those guys are on the field. But the thing about it is any one of them can run any play that we want. And the biggest, like you said, challenge is making sure certain guys are getting X amount of touches. And I think we've done a good job of that in the past, and you'll continue to see, several guys play back there.
Coach Nix, Coach Stock said that he's looking for a leader at the cornerback position. Coach Ellis said that players like Jamarcus Howard have made strides. Could you see him or any other players as your vocal leaders on defense with Kevin?
The best way to lead is by example and going out there working and proving that you're a playmaker and you can play within the scheme. I think we have a lot of potential there. Chris Brown is a guy who's played, and, we're looking for more consistency out of him. Jared Singletary is a kid that's played a lot of football for us that, is in his senior season that potentially could be a great leader. Ultimately, sometimes those guys may not be the guy that you're looking for, but if they can follow the lead of Kevin and be great followers and great listeners, sometimes that's just as good. So whatever we put out there, we're going to give ourselves a chance to be successful, and I think we got a lot of guys to choose from.
Coach Faulkner, what are really your expectations out of the wide receiver group, given you lose guys like Devin Clark, Chris Perkins, guys like that?
My expectations are very high of those guys. We've got some inexperience young guys that you'll see play a lot that I think are, highly competitive kids. Guys like Demetrius Frazier, Richie James. We've got high expectation for those guys. And then we've got some guys on the outside, Ed and CC, who've played a lot of football for us. And those guys got to, continue to get better. And we brought in a junior college kid, Rod Ducksworth, and he's got a lot of potential. He's got to learn the offense. But we've got some solid guys to work with, and I think our tight end core, led by Terry Pettis and Sean Smith, is also going to be a weapon there in the passing game.
This question is for both of you. Who has, on each side of the ball, which is your biggest deficiency at the position? Which position would you say needs the most work individually?
Well, defensively, I think at every position we have much room for improvement. But if you was talking about the biggest concern, it's always the cornerback position for us. And sometimes we may not know until we kick off, but the way these guys have worked this summer, I think Coach Spray mentioned that they may have been the hardest working group. And that tells you a little bit about their character, that they are committed to getting the job done, and they won't be the weak link of our defense.
Yeah, I agree. You definitely have every position. You got to get better at something. So, O-line, quarterback, running back, y'all got to get better. I think the biggest thing, though, for us is the wide receivers, and more so just the lack of playing time that those guys have had, and just really, making plays when the ball's in the air. And, that's what's got to happen. So that's what we'll keep an eye on in fall camp, who's making those plays, and those are the guys you'll see on Saturday afternoons.
This is for both of you. You look at 2012, you go 8-4, you don't get the bowl invite. 2013, the team responds at that time with a bowl appearance. You look at the last season, there's no bowl appearance again, but you're bowl eligible. Can you guys sort of sense the chip on the shoulder of the players going into camp?
Well, there's no doubt, we feel like we have something to prove, and we didn't play up to expectations a year ago. We have a quote in our facility, and it talks about success. Success is earned, and I think we all had to eat a little humble pie in the process because we had 2 consecutive years of, really good football here. And I don't know if we didn't stay focused throughout the process and assume that it was going to take place. But the group that showed back up in the off season for winter workouts and the group that went through spring ball and through the summer workouts is a group that's determined to reach its full potential, and wherever that may be, we'll find out at the end of the season. But from a work ethic standpoint, from a attention to detail, from a commitment, all those things are there, including leadership.
Yeah, I definitely. We've definitely got a chip on our shoulder. I think the biggest thing is when you look back at it, the overall body of work. You're 8-4, playing a bowl game, and then you go 6-6, and you wonder why. When you go back and you really break it down and you really study it, I think the kids now understand the importance of details and fundamentals. Because when you look back, you probably let a couple games get away, and it was strictly fundamentals and the details and the importance of understanding what to do on each and every play. And just doing your job. I think the kids, they're able to look back at that and truly understand what it takes now to reach our full potential.
Coach Faulkner, can you tell me one thing that each quarterback, Brent and Austin, has improved on since last year? Just one aspect, whether it's their footwork or accuracy. Can you point out one thing?
First, they're both highly very, very intelligent kids, so, and they take everything to heart, both very competitive, tough kids, kind of kids you want to coach. Austin's really took ownership and trying to work on his release. I think he's gotten better at that, so from his aspect, that's what he's done. Brent has done a phenomenal job in the weight room and putting himself in position to be able to run the ball. People don't think he can run the ball, but I beg to differ. He can run it better than you think he can. So he's put that weight on his frame, which is really going to help him out.
Coach Faulkner, on that, going back to the quarterbacks, how does your philosophy and play calling change depending on who is named the starter.
Well, I think, like I said just a second ago, they're both smart, and that's one thing that you'll find when you spend a lot of time with them is their football IQ is off the charts. I think they'll both be great coaches one day if that's what they decide to do. So from a meeting standpoint, they understand it, they get it. From changing how we call the offense, that won't change much. Okay, Austin runs the ball a little better. Brent probably throws the ball a little better. Okay, but neither one of them get enough credit for doing the other one. So Brent can run it better than people think he can, and Austin probably throws it better than people think he can. So we'll see how that plays out, but the offense won't change drastically from one guy to the next. Obviously, one guy does something a little better, then you'll cater to that, and that's kind of how we'll go from there.
Coach Faulkner, you've been a part of a lot of quarterback battles. Is this year's quarterback battle any different? Do you sense a more competitiveness to it, I guess you could say?
I wouldn't say that it's any different. I think one thing about these two is both these guys, they don't like to lose, so that's the fun part to coach those guys. So whoever's out there, I feel comfortable with both of them. I got the utmost respect for the work that those two guys put in each and every day to be the best. And if you ask them, they both want to be the best. So no, it's no different as far as that goes. I think a lot of times in quarterback competitions, people wait for, for separation. That's what you want, either one guy not being able to do it or the other guy doing it. I think both these guys can do it. So, that'll be a decision that we got to make.
This question is for both of you. You guys are facing SEC defenses and SEC offenses this year. How do you keep the players focused on no matter who you're playing and no matter what conference you're playing?
I think it starts from the top. Our head coach emphasizes 1 week at a time, and I think our players understand that. I know we as a coaching staff understand that. And, the only thing you can control is the current moment and the team that you're facing that week. And right now we're working on Middle Tennessee, and hopefully we'll be the best team that we can possibly be when we open up against Jackson State. I think having opponents out of our conference sometimes is another attention getter where they'll have a chance to compete supposedly against some of the elite teams in the country. But ultimately our goal is to try to be out and be the best team that we can be every week for every opportunity that we get. And hopefully at the end of the season we'll be in a bowl game.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who our opponent's going to be. We got to start, worry about today, and tomorrow. I think that's the biggest thing is when you talk about fundamentals and details of being better, those are the things that we can control. We're not going to worry about who we line up against. If we start getting into that, we'll miss the fundamentals and the details of what we're trying to do. So I think that's the biggest thing with us offensively is we got to worry about the next play or the next drill or whatever it is.